Morning, Trainiacs. Easy little run that I will show you later. Today, I woke up to the worst news that could have happened for the men's race at Ironman Kona this year. Jan Frodeno is out. Well, waking up to the news that Jan Frodeno is not going to be in Kona this year was like, I was not expecting that whatsoever. The guy has been so fit, so dominant all year that he's coming in dominant. Lionel Sanders is coming in super fit. Patrick Lange is Patrick Lange. You can never count the guy out when he's running a 2:40 marathon in Kona. We're going to have Clash of the Titans. Oh, Javier Gomez, too, is going to show up. We're going to see a rematch of Half Ironman Worlds. And then all of a sudden, Jan Frodeno announces that he has a stress fracture in his SI joint, his hip. He's had an amazing year. He started out winning Half Ironman Oceanside against Lionel Sanders, won Half Ironman Kraichgau against Patrick Lange, won full Ironman Frankfurt against Patrick Lange, won the Half Ironman World Championships against basically everyone, like Javier Gomez and Alistair Brownlee, two of the best triathletes to ever race, and then out. So let's talk about this. A stress fracture is just a tiny little crack in a bone. Typically, it's caused by repetitive motion and stress in one single area. So with runners taking 15,000 steps over the course of a long run and professional athletes doing long runs constantly day after day after day, we're very susceptible to getting stress fractures. It can particularly happen if you increase volume too quickly, if you don't take enough rest, if your stress levels in life are particularly high, or you don't eat properly. It's tough to say why this has happened specifically to Jan because over 2018 and a little bit in 2017, he's been quite a closed door with all of his training, with his nutrition. Like, I really don't know what he does day to day, but he just kind of makes these pretty photos on Instagram and sips coffee and makes coffee and has all the most amazing sponsors out there and then shows up and wins an awesome race in dominating fashion. But we don't know what his training and his nutrition has been like. Now, one thing that it could be is, did he maybe push too hard, too much, coming off of that defeat that he had with the injury at 2017 in Kona? Did that give him too much motivation to push himself? And he pushed himself into that really fit place and held it for a long time. That was almost too long. And he wanted to win everything this year. And that holding fitness too long is actually a big problem with a lot of pro triathletes. Something that we heard from Lindsay Corbin when we did the podcast with her is she gets so fit so quick that the thing that is limiting her wasn't cardiovascular fitness or muscle fatigue or power in the run or the bike or the swim. It's being fit for a really long period of time. And that line between world-class athlete, ultra fit, and sick is a very, very fine balance. They're kind of teetering on that line all year. Did Jan potentially dip into that level of fitness too much, too long? Well, we know that he peaked 4 times throughout the year, and it was early in the season in March at Oceanside. It was late in the season coming into Kona and Half Ironman Worlds. It was even mid-season at Kraichgau and Frankfurt. So that is a long period of time to be fit. And while a lot of people do say, well, you know what, I can race that many times throughout the year. We saw that last year, Sarah Crowley won a whole bunch of races, still did well in Kona, but caught up to her later in the year where she was injured. Leanne DeCave, back when she had a dominating season, winning half Iron and full Ironman Worlds, she was basically injured and sick for all years thereafter. Maybe that's what happened to Jan. Rest-wise, I don't think I would say that that's likely the case with Jan. Seems like he enjoys sipping coffee. He's got a family now, which tends to level things out quite a bit. And he was so good about his media obligations in Half Ironman Worlds, I would actually say so difficult because I was media, that he almost wasn't available to the media throughout the entire week. that's kind of a sign of having enough sense to manage your obligations to be able to perform well. So I don't know if I would say rest is the issue. And nutritionally, we don't know if he's sticking to that vegetarian or vegan diet that he was doing back in 2017, but vegetarians, vegans as a whole do have a greater likelihood of being nutritionally deficient because we're just stripping out a lot of nutrients. And before all the vegans out there say, hey, Taren, what are you talking about? Aren't you vegan? No, I'm not vegan. I eat probably 95% vegan meals, but I make sure that I incorporate some animal products in just a little sliver of my diet to make sure that I'm not missing out on a lot of things. Is Jan missing out on a lot of things? Don't know. However, some of the stats say, depending on which study you look at, that vegans, vegetarians, because we aren't eating so many animal products, which tend to actually have a degenerative effect on our bone density, that vegans, vegetarians sometimes have more dense bones. It's just a guess of what's going on with Jan. Actually, there was no guess there. Nutritionally, I wouldn't say that that's the issue. So my guess is that he pushed too hard for too long, and his age being 37 years old just caught up to him. And that's what happens when you're trying to get to the absolute top 1% of 1% of 1% in a sport that is extremely repetitive. You have to dance on that fine line between amazing, record-breaking athlete and injured, close to out of the sport. Hopefully that's not the case, because the only thing that we know for sure is that this sucks. We're going to have one of the best head-to-head matchups that's happened in recent memory in Kona, and it's not going to happen. We are still going to have the favorites. I'd say Lionel Sanders, Sebastian Kienle, Javier Gomez, and we can't count out Patrick Lange, even though he's had a little bit of a lackluster year. A man that can run 240 in the lava fields of Kona, you can't ever count out. So with that said, Jan, I hope you're back. I hope you get better soon. We want to see you on the start line. I want to see this head-to-head matchup, and if I have to wait till 2019, so be it. I'll be there. Now, we'll usher you out by saying, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all of our coverage for Kona. We just had some phone calls today. It's going to be awesome. I'll send you off with the run from this morning. And if you want to know more details about that run, go to triathlontaren.com/training log. And every single week, I'll send you out the exact details of every single workout that I do.